Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Wednesday, 3rd of September, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. And if you're over on Facebook, you got like 7 choices. So run over there and clickety click.
Clickety click, everybody. Hope y'all are having a good day. It's Wednesday.
Hump day.
Hump day. Yeah. Camels and all that other stuff. Anyways,
All that stuff.
all that jazz.
All that jazz. Let's say hi to the fam.
Let's say hi to the fam.
We got Chad in the house.
What's up, Chad?
We got the most interesting man in the world in the house, Mr. Mike.
What's up, Mike?
We got Left Lane in the house.
Hey, Leslie. Just got home. Nice. Good timing.
We got F. Clint in the house.
Yo, what's up, F. Clan?
We got Cal Bear in the house.
There's Cal Bear. What's going on, man? Sorry you're out there in Cali, even though it's beautiful.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
trying to ruin it.
They're trying to ruin it. We got Miss Steph in the house.
Good evening, Steph.
Love you, girl. We got Miss Carol in the house.
Hey, Carol. I know
Love you.
Dawn's in tow.
Love you, Miss Carol. Love you, Miss Dawn. How's everyone doing on this
Yeah, hope
wonderful
everybody's
hump
having a
day?
good day.
I'm sure that it's been, a day.
Yeah, it's been kind of a day today.
It's been a day. So you have the first video.
Oh, I've got the first. You gave me like 30 videos today.
I did not.
You did?
I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hump day.
Hump day. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's see. Watch live as Representatives Khanna and Thomas Massie hold a press conference with Epstein
I don't think
victims.
that's the first one.
Oh, okay, fine. You don't get that one then.
No.
All right.
NBC
News tries to get Epstein victims to expose Trump. They immediately do the opposite. What a surprise. I'm going to go ahead and read this because it's just like a short little video. Epstein's sex trafficking operation told NBC News, or Epstein's sex trafficking operation told NBC News' Haley Jackson Wednesday that they had no knowledge of President Donald Trump doing anything appropriate in relation to the deceased
inappropriate.
or doing anything inappropriate inappropriate in relation to the deceased pedophile's operation. Speculations surrounding Trump's relationship with Epstein have drawn attention on Capitol Hill and the press following the Department of Justice's conclusion that Epstein had not possessed a client list and its decision to not publicly release all of the documents relating to the sex offender's criminal case. The victims told Jackson on NBC News Now that they had not heard or seen Trump do, quote, anything inappropriate as it related to Epstein, end quote. And then another quote, I do have to ask, and I think it's just something we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon, did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein, end quote, Jackson asked. No, one or two victims could be heard saying. None of those interviewed disputed that Trump had not done anything inappropriate. So here we go.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Like I said, it was pretty quick. All right, so stop sharing there. All right, so and pretty much that's really the end of that. It is. They're not finding anything. And if they would have found something, boy, the press would have been talking all about that. I have no. Oh, my bad.
And Biden would have used it.
Oh, yeah, Biden. Well, they would have, understanding that Biden was just a sock puppet for Barry, that most certainly would have been put out and it would have been all over the place. Mike says, Trump is playing them like a fiddle.
And
yes.
Left Lane's comment.
And then Left Lane says, come on, man. Trump is a multimillionaire. If he wants a girl, I'm sure he can find him one. Okay. Yeah.
He's actually a billionaire.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. And then Left Lane also says, and you seen that fine woman he's married to? Come on, man. He doesn't need no little kid. He's got a fine woman at the house, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the part of it is Trump's name just keeps on not coming up. And this is directly from the people that were trafficked and were part of all of everything that had gone on. So I'm going to go ahead and say that there's nothing on Trump. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing anything outside of what the press keeps talking about. And then the rumor mill that's on, so the mainstream media or the legacy media, they're not mainstream anymore. There's nothing mainstream about them other than the fact that they're still around. And I'm going to say sites that are completely controlled, kind of like Reddit.
Yeah. Because
they silenced any oppositional kind of thinking on that website a long time ago, and only certain information, there's only a certain, not information, only a certain side is allowed to communicate on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a shame because I used to love that site.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You ready?
Yeah.
I have this one, and then you have two videos. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Would you read that, please?
Epstein survivors may release their own list of abusers.
Let's listen.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Thoughts?
All right. So a couple of things there. First of all, That was in Washington, D.C. It's amazing because those people wouldn't have been able to speak up at all, which really is the first thing, is the fact that they're speaking out. They're not surrounded by security. They're not having to hide. They're out in the open, and they're out in the open in Washington, D.C., which tells me that something has changed significantly in Washington, D.C., to the point that these people are allowed to not only speak freely, but two, be able to do it in the heart of like our government, where so much corruption is seated. And I'm sure that there's a lot of names that may have something to do with Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So it tells me that things have changed a lot more than what people think they may have. It's nice to see that these people are able to speak out, and I think that that's an amazing thing right there.
Facts.
You got anything on that one, Kay?
No.
No. Okay. And then I have the next one. You say
Next
the next two?
Yes.
All right. So let's try this one again. Watch live as Representatives Khanna and Thomas Massie hold a press conference with Epstein victims after Thomas Massie introduces a discharge petition to release all Epstein files.
You see Mike's comment real quick?
No, I got to go back because I'm reading this. You bring, I did see this comment, though. It's a great comment. You bring friends and family to your home. Everyone else goes to the other island because he had two islands, is what Mike had said earlier. And then Cal Bear says military protects DC now. And I think that's exactly why. Steph says that's the way I would see it done, Mike. Yeah, it just kind of makes sense.
Exactly.
All right. So let's see. Massie and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene previously joined forces with Khanna on a discharge petition aimed at compelling a full House vote on releasing classified Jeffrey Epstein files. Khanna said that 12 Democrats and 12 Republicans have signed onto the petition. Massie filed the petition on Tuesday and says 134 have already signed onto the petition, surpassing half of the 218 signatures needed. And then here's the tweet that he put out. It's filed. Your congressman can now sign the discharge petition to force a vote on binding legislation to release the Epstein files. And there we go.
That's what needs to be done.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee has released an additional 33,000 pages, interesting number, of Epstein documents provided by the Department of Justice under a subpoena. But Massie and Khanna want all of the remaining files to be released. Khanna recently said the press conference will feature victims who, quote, haven't spoken for decades, end quote, and open quote again, when the American people actually hear the victims for the first time, they are going to sympathize. Their hearts are going to be broken, end quote, she says. People are going to be outraged. The press conference is scheduled to begin at 10:30 Eastern time, which has long passed, but I'm just going to go ahead and play a little bit of this here.
I'd like to bring back Congressman Khanna to start this important press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman Greene, for your courage and for being here. And thank you again to Congressman Massie for co-leading it. I now would like to introduce two people who have been fighting this for decades. They haven't had their voice heard. The victims haven't been heard. They haven't just been on this in the last few months. They've been doing this in the wilderness for years. And they are really models of courage. Bradley Edwards and Brittany Henderson, who are the attorneys for the victims. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ro and Thomas Massie. I really appreciate you putting forth this discharge petition. It's tough to understand that we have to be here because this doesn't seem like a partisan issue. This is an issue. Sex trafficking and sexual abuse transcends politics. We as Americans expect equal protection under the law, and there can be no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein received far greater protection than any of the victims that he abused for years. In 2008, Courtney Wild walked into my office because she was a part of a federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, where all she wanted was the government to talk to her. Little did she know the government had worked out a secret immunity deal for Jeffrey Epstein, and we had to file Jane Doe's versus United States of America, to prove that Jeffrey Epstein worked out an illegal non-prosecution agreement with the government. That was 2008. It took us 10 years
All right,
battling the
we're
government.
going to go
for
ahead
Moto.
and go ahead and put this in the Telegram channel.
It's quite long.
Yeah, it's pretty long. There was a lot to be said, obviously, but oh geez, it's you know, they're actually trying to get this information out there, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I just it needs to happen, and we're starting to see it. But as we're starting to see so many other things change in the U.S., in the government, in everything else, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the end for all of these kinds of things that have been happening. This conspiracy that's been going on. So now let me go ahead and play this one. This video before Jeffrey Epstein, the finders, and we're only going to play a little bit of this because it's 25 minutes long, but it's certainly interesting. You might find it interesting too, in which case we're going to go ahead and throw this on the Telegram channel as well, so that way you can get the link. All right, here we go.
Tallahassee, Florida, February 4th, 1987. At first, it looked like something of a misunderstanding. Two well-dressed men stood in a public park with 6 children. The kids looked dirty, hungry, and strangely silent. The men claimed that they were on their way to Mexico to start a school for exceptional children. But to the residents of Myers Park, something felt off. The kids weren't playing, they weren't talking, they were just watching. So someone called the police. When the officers arrived, they immediately noticed that the children were in poor condition. They were covered in bug bites, wearing old, mismatched clothes, and showing signs of malnutrition and neglect. The 2 men, identified as Douglas Ammerman and Michael Houlihan, said that they were teachers, but they had no identification on them. The officers pressed further. Where were the children's birth certificates? Who were their legal guardians? The men couldn't or wouldn't answer. That's when the police made the decision that would unravel one of the most disturbing government entanglements in U.S. history. They took everyone in for questioning. As authorities began digging, the story got stranger and fast. The 2 men were placed under arrest for child abuse and suspicion of trafficking. The children were separated for interviews. According to police reports, one child, described as around 6 years old, didn't know what a toilet was. Another asked if they were going to be put in jail like before. Some of the children said they lived in a communal house in Washington, D.C., where women were not allowed to bathe the boys, and where punishment meant silence, deprivation, and something more. The children weren't able to articulate exactly what that meant. All 6 children appeared to be suffering from psychological trauma, yet none were listed as missing in any national database. While the kids were interviewed in Florida, police in Washington, D.C. moved in on the group's known residence. What they found would shock even seasoned officers. The home, a 2-story townhouse located at 39 West Street, didn't look unusual from the outside. In fact, it blended into the neighborhood so well that many residents didn't even know it was shared by this group calling themselves the Finders. Inside, the house was cluttered with surveillance equipment, piles of computer disks, maps, journals. In one room, officers discovered a telex machine, basically a relic of early digital communication. It was hooked up to foreign embassies. In another room, they found photographs, children tied up in strange positions that looked ritualistic. Even many photos were labeled and cataloged as if part of a data archive. Police also recovered detailed files on child acquisition tactics, child care instructions written in code, and passports linked to destinations all over the world, including North Korea, Malaysia, and Moscow. Even more disturbing, the home contained a large hand-drawn map of underground tunnels, specifically in Washington, D.C., labeled with words like exit points, observation, and containment. I'm John Genoa. This is America's Strangest History. Tonight we dive into a mysterious...
All right, so there's your teaser for it. That's the video right there. So we know this is something that's been going on for a long time, and it certainly is an interesting, like video. And I think it's something worth checking out. It reminds me of the stories about all those kids that just came out of nowhere back in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And they actually, had them like, you can see the pictures. We played it once upon a time, but they're in what looks like a cabbage patch. It's really weird history, and children who nobody knows where they came from or anything like that. Like it was said in the video, the one kid didn't even know what a toilet was. And so it's like, what kind of underworld is really out there, and how many kids are being born that the world just doesn't even know about, that aren't known in any form or fashion. It's not a surprise to me based off of everything that we've been looking at. It's really sad, but the only way we can even begin to understand something like that, we have to be able to get to the people that have a story to tell. And we're finally, it looks like, getting to that point where there is the story that can be told, so we can uncover what's really going on in so many places that we just don't know about.
Correct. And see, that's part of the problem, is these people on the left, they don't understand how bad it is.
Amen.
Liberty.
Yeah, Liberty.
That's why I said, Liberty, thank you so much. You're so awesome.
Thanks,
You're
Liberty.
always helping us with the algorithms, and you don't know how much
It's
that
awesome.
means
Yeah,
to us.
we really appreciate it. Thank you. Anyways, go ahead.
But the people on the left, they just don't understand how truly bad it is.
But the thing is people on the left do understand that trafficking is a thing. Obviously, they're pushing for it.
They just don't understand how bad it truly is.
They want to blame
And-
Trump is what the problem
And
is.
if Trump wants to do something good, then they would rather, honestly, how I feel in my heart, they would rather have the trafficking keep happening.
They want to blame Trump
I
because they're
agree,
trying to
Mike.
push him the way he pushed with Operation Warp Speed. That's what I really think is going on.
Yeah.
Mike says, I think we will be surprised how big it is.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Mike had
sadly.
another good comment too that I wanted to show you.
Mike says the Democrats want the FBI files, but Trump will release the CIA files, not tampered with. It's a trap. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's the intelligence community has been getting a house cleaning, I'm going to go ahead and say, and it's going to be really interesting. Silver says that she agrees. It is huge and worldwide.
Yep.
It's much bigger than probably most people could even imagine. And I know it's deep conspiracy world about the what are being called the DUMBs, or the deep underground military bunkers. And we generally don't touch those because there's no good information out there that can be verified in any form or fashion, especially with all of these people talking about these operations going on. And really what I think is that we're going to find out that it's something similar. But I do think that a lot of that information is going to come out. And I think that that's where these unknown children, are coming from.
Right. You ready?
Again, speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's listen.
Do you know that you can talk yourself into a good mood if you want to? Or you can talk yourself into a bad mood. A couple of weeks ago, I got up one morning, and I don't know why. I don't even remember
What's up, Bill?
why, but for some reason, I just kind of started to think a couple of negative things and maybe a couple of poor me things. And then I just said, no, not going there, been there, done that. And I started purposely thanking God for everything that I could think of and thinking about how blessed I was. And it only took probably less than 2 minutes, and a day that could have ended up in the ditch was turned completely around, and I had a great day.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying Joyce, because I think she's really amazing as well. Anyway, thoughts?
It can seem so counterintuitive to be grateful for everything, especially when bad things are going on. I'm hearing about corporate shakeups and companies one of my friends works for. I'm not going to go ahead and divulge any of that, but it's awful. It's corporate greed, and it makes me sad. But as I'm talking to my friend, as he's going through this thing that's going on there, he's been listening to us, privately. He doesn't watch the show. Friends don't do that kind of stuff. But anyway, he's had a good attitude about it. He's learning how to count it all joy and to give thanks for every situation, because he recognizes that God has a plan. And when these strange things happen in our life and we don't understand why, as long as we stay focused on God, he will show us why. It's about us learning how to enjoy the journey, no matter how unenjoyable the journey may seem at that very point in time, because we can be excited about the things that can happen for us because these shakeups happen. And it's one of the biggest difficulties in terms of trying to keep that PMA, that positive mental attitude when things are rough, but it allows you to better see the opportunities that he's giving for you. That whole pruning season, I'm sure being pruned and having parts and pieces cut off isn't exactly fun for the plant, but in the end, it makes it so that way it bears more fruit. And that in the end is what makes us all happy, is when we're capable and able to bear fruit.
Exactly. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
All right. CNN leftists can't handle that DC crime crackdown is working wonderfully.
Let's listen.
Okay.
Isn't serious about solving crime here. This is all about theater. This is all about shock and awe. That's what he specializes
That's why
in.
the National Guard in DC, they've got them on beautification duty now. Guardsmen have reportedly cleaned more than 2.3 miles of roadway, collected more than 500 bags of trash, and disposed of 3 truckloads of plant waste. I think that is all great stuff. But the National Guard, at the tune of $1 million a day, because these folks have to be paid, are doing what the Park Service could have done if they had just been given their adequate funding.
And the crime rates are plummeting in Washington, D.C.
I
The mayor of
understand that.
D.C. is thanking the
But just to be
president.
clear, the National Guard is not doing any of that. The National Guard is not doing any of that. The people doing that are other law enforcement agencies like ICE and Border Patrol.
I'll tell you one thing they're doing.
And
I walked
ATF
around,
and others.
I'll tell you one thing they're doing. I walked around Washington, D.C. all weekend long with my family. I had my entire family there. And we did run into the National Guard. And I'm just going to tell you, having these guys walking around, keeping an eye on things, they were greeting the public. I saw a lot of people walking up to them, thanking them for keeping an eye on Washington, D.C. I think there's something to be said for just having more eyes and ears on the streets. People are less likely to commit crimes in front of 4 or 5 National Guardsmen.
Their visibility is a deterrent. But what happens once you pull them back, right? That doesn't really solve the
it's a
root
good
of the
question.
problem.
And today, Mayor Bowser actually signed an executive order inviting an ongoing federal presence in Washington, D.C., and didn't put an end date on it. I mean, just as Ben said, she has acknowledged that this has worked. Crime has gone down. People are being arrested. Illegal guns are coming off the streets. And there is apparently some cooperation between a Democrat and a Republican administration, which you're not getting a scintilla of out of Illinois, which I think is a political mistake.
I do see it differently.
All right. Sees it differently. Of course. Let's see. I can't remove this, and Kay ran off. So, but I guess we'll just have to keep that up.
I got it. I had to do the air.
Oh, it is kind of toasty. Computers do like heat things. Anyways, the Democrats, they really don't know what to do. Or excuse me, the panel on CNN, they really have no idea what to say. They try to push the narrative that they're told to push, and everybody knows that the narrative that they're pushing is absolute. Stop it. There we go. All right. cow just wouldn't shut up. Of course, then again. Anyways, it's all a bunch of BS. And so when somebody like Scott Jennings is there and he's hitting them with the facts, and it's more than just trash cleanup, it's like, look, good things are happening. And why are you going to focus on the trash cleanup? And really, in the end, is it a bad thing to have all the trash picked up? I mean, yes, it would be nice if our military was used for things other than having to pick up the trash, which is what the public services are supposed to be taking care of, the public works department. But for some reason, that stuff doesn't happen. And our nation's capital should be the cleanest city in the nation, yet they've picked up that much trash. So I'm sorry that y'all haven't been living in anything other than squalor in DC, but that's because they are doing it. But now that they've got the help that they need to police the streets, they can police the trash off of the ground too. Hopefully, now with this jump start, they put the paddles on the patient there. Maybe its heart will start pumping again, and then DC will be the beautiful city that it's supposed to be. And I think that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to something like that in their very blue cities that probably less than half of the people actually voted for the blue policies, because so many people are sick and tired of the way things have been run. People are sick and tired of seeing the homeless, when we know that there are other problems that are preventing these people from being able to have the home that they used to have before all of these ridiculous socialist policies were put into place to meant specifically to destroy this nation. That's what they're upset about, is their attempt to destroy the greatest nation that this world has seen since, I don't know, real Israel back when King David was around. I'm going to go ahead and say that, you know what? They couldn't do it this time. Sucks to be y'all. Go back to the shitholes that you love so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sheriff Hector, thanks for joining. Nattering nabobs of negativity.
Cowbear, you crack me up.
That's great.
You ready?
I look forward to California being great again, and I know that that's going to happen.
Me too.
I feel it. It's probably time to go ahead and invest in Cali, friends.
I know.
Just saying.
You ready?
Yeah. Before all the Californians go back that left.
True. You ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
All right, here we go. Scott Jennings just went nuclear on Tim Walz over his vile comments about Trump dying. Oh, good. I'm glad we're getting to this.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
But I'll tell you who is a complete piece of shit. I'm going to tell you right now.
There have been a lot of swear words at this
Tim
table today,
Walz,
okay?
the governor of Minnesota, holding up a phone in front of a rally saying, well, we thought we were going to wake up and find out the president had died. Someday it'll happen. Someday it'll happen. I used to say he was the biggest buffoon in American politics, but it's worse now. No political official, no elected official should be walking around saying, well, I'm hoping we wake up one day and the president of the United States has died. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That is crazy. From Spiro Agnew. All right, that's good. I have to see if I can't find that soundbite. Anyway, the fact that a politician of any level would rejoice in anybody's demise is very, it's just not the way it's supposed to be. We don't need politicians whose heart is shut down so much, whether they're on the other side of the aisle or not. That's not what I expect out of my politicians. I expect them to be better people than me.
Yeah.
I expect them to rise to the top of this, to act as the example. But at the same time, I also recognize that our politicians are human beings and that they make mistakes and that they don't make those same mistakes anymore. And to be so heartless tells me that, is he really heartless, or does he just have so much to hide? And that's what I really believe about Walz. Yeah.
He's disgusting.
He's a terrible person.
He is not a good human being. And unfortunately, I mean, we dodged a bullet with Hills Up and him. We really did. We dodged a big bullet with that.
That's because enough people finally woke up that they couldn't cheat on the presidential ballot. I know that they cheated on all the other ballots, but that will come out and it'll probably make it even more apparent.
Yeah.
You know, when the real investigations come out, because so many people are going to end up going to jail. It'll be interesting to see the kind of elections we have moving forward after all these people get clapped in irons, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
All right. Vote for Calbear out there in California because he's going to have to run.
I know. Would you read that, please?
All right. Here's the most important and accurate explanation of the manufactured foreign invasion of the West.
Let's listen.
All right.
Immigration doesn't just happen. You've been told it's random, strategic, and uncontrollable, but that's a lie. Mass migration is a strategy, and like every strategy, it has sponsors. Think about it. Nobody crosses continents by accident. Planes, boats, housing, NGOs, lawyers, it's all financed. And who pays for that? Governments, supranational institutions, foundations backed by billionaires. It's not the immigrants who designed this. They are the pawns moved on a board they didn't build. Why would European governments allow millions of unregulated entries? Well, simple. Cheap labor for corporations, a divided, desperate workforce that will accept lower wages, a fractured society that never unites against the elite. Keep people fighting about culture instead of class, right? A pressure to justify surveillance and more state control. Terror attacks, organized crime, is the perfect excuse for digital IDs, border biometrics, and militarized policing. There is evidence everywhere. NGOs like Open Society Foundations openly fund migration networks in Europe. EU programs like the European Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund allocate billions to facilitate mobility. Governments sign UN compacts on migration that commit to increasing, not reducing inflows. Corporations lobby for migrant labor through chambers of commerce and industry groups. When you trace the money, it doesn't end with refugees. It ends with bankers, NGOs, and politicians who benefit from the chaos. The average citizen sees immigrants on the street and thinks they are the problem. Wrong target. The problem is the system that engineered their arrival while pretending it was all humanitarian. If it was humanitarian, why do the same governments bombing or destabilizing countries abroad like Libya, Syria, and Afghanistan also fund the rescue operation to Europe? They create a fire, then move the people as collateral. And here's the trick. The chaos is intentional. You get angry at the immigrant family moving into your neighborhood, while the billionaire class who paid for their journey hides in the shadow. Divide and rule version 2.0. While you argue over flags, accents, and skin color, the same corporations tighten control over land, housing, and resources. So, the truth? Immigration is not an accident, and immigrants are not the masterminds. It's a managed strategy, sponsored, directed, and enforced by the same powers that profit from your poverty. The real enemy isn't the person crossing the border, it's the hand that opened the border in the first place.
All right. So, yeah, there it is. In the end, why do we have this immigration? Why do we have all this illegal immigration? Well, that's simply because they keep bringing these people over here. Who are these people? And it's not just here, the United States. It's here in Europe, and all of these people are coming across the border. So what happens is that the swamp creatures that are in the government were working hand in hand with the swamp creatures that are in the corporations, and so they cause these problems. They create a whole bunch of anger and get people to hate the West, and then they encourage these people through these swamp creature non-governmental organizations to bring these people to these nations, and then they help them get across the border so that way they can give these migrants the opportunity for jobs at much lower wages, therefore making us compete whether we know it or not, which is a lot of what has happened. Is that Americans don't know that we're losing jobs to illegal aliens. And so these employers, they hire people at a lower wage rate. And so we get pushed out, and then they create this warfare between us and the migrants when the migrants were forced into this situation out of the country that they were in to begin with. And they generally don't hate us. They just want the opportunities. They're just being used as pawns against us, the people that are of this nation or of the nations over where the migrants are going to, wherever that is around the world. And so what's happening is that they drive down what they have to pay, so that way the elites can go ahead and make more profits, so that way they can screw the rest of us. In the end, it's all about mammon. It's about the bottom line, and that's all they care about. And they're going to screw over anybody and everybody, and they seem to think that they're going to have the kind of power to prevent all of these angry people from coming after them in the end, which isn't going to work out for them very well in the long run. As a matter of fact,
I don't care about the people that work for them.
No.
If you were to die at your computer,
yeah,
your job replacement would already be listed before the ambulance showed up.
oh yeah, without a doubt. There's a meme going around. I sent it out, and it's a picture of a newscast talking about how a bartender got shot, and in the background is the bar, and it says hiring bartender on the board up at the top above the bar. And it's like, it's business. It's business the way it is. It's sad, but the thing is people need a job. People just want to pay their bills, and they want to make their wife happy. They want to make their kids happy. Take them, well, not to Disneyland anymore, but a lot of people, that's what they want to do because it's exciting. It's presented as exciting, and people just want to make their family happy, and we can't. Why? Because the wages have been depressed, but the profits have been increased to such a point where people are just screwed no matter what, and they're squeezing out the small business people, the professionals. It's just getting more and more difficult. And in the end, President Trump is actually doing these people a favor that have been screwing over everybody else in the world for their profits and their, millionaire, billionaire lifestyle, whatever it is that he's doing favor, because once the mass of the population says enough is enough, it's bad for everybody. Anybody ever heard of the bonfire of the vanities?
Right.
Or what was that? The French Revolution? Yeah, not good. It doesn't work out well for people once everybody gets fed up. And that's why the mass of the population of America and Europe has gone along to get along at this point in time, because we recognize that the alternative is just ugly. It would be burnt down to the ground, because the people, the haves, they'll burn it down so that way the have-nots can't have it. It's just the way it is. Mike says, I hope the day I die, I can take a half a day off.
Hey, Fire and Eight.
Hey, Fire and Eight. Thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
How about some Kelly?
Kelly's good.
Let's listen.
All right.
Hey, Christians, I just wanted to check in, make sure you're using the hidden features in your Bible. Oh, what's that you say? You didn't know the Bible had hidden features? Oh, son, I'm going to show you. You see, God put a device in the Bible to help you check your levels. He gave you a tool you can use anytime to find out where exactly you are in this walk with God. You'll find it in 1 Corinthians 13. You see, in verse 4, it starts telling us what love is. But as you and I know, God is love. So this is painting a picture of what God looks like. It says love is patient, love is kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud. Love keeps no records of wrong, and love never fails. That's who your Father is. But hold on. When you and I gave our lives to Jesus, God transformed us into a new person. And every day we should start to look more and more like him. But how do you know how far along you are in the process? I'm so glad you asked. That's what 1 Corinthians 13 is for. All you got to do if you want to check your levels is go to 1 Corinthians 13, start in verse 4, and every time you see the word love, take it out and put your name in instead and see if it still makes sense. Kelly is patient. Well, Kelly is kind. Okay? Kelly is not jealous, boastful, or proud. That's me. Kelly doesn't demand his own way. Kelly keeps no record of being wronged. Kelly never gives up, and Kelly never fails. Ouch. You see, when you read that with your name in place of the word love, it will show you exactly how close to the Father you are or how far from the Father you are. But let me encourage you today. If you use this verse to check your levels and you realize you're not where you need to be, don't beat yourself up. God's not mad at you. And all you need to do to become more like him is spend more time with him. So press into the Father today. Get in his word and find out how good he really is. He doesn't have love. He is love. And he wants to pour it out on you. And that's just one of many hidden features. But to find them, you got to read it. And think about that for a minute. Hey, if this...
Have a great night, Bill. Thanks for stopping by, man. And welcome, Stephen. Appreciate you. And so many. Did I miss other people? I know I missed people. I'm sorry if I missed y'all. Anyways. All right.
Thoughts?
So what Kelly's talking there, beautiful. It's great. And it's certainly a good litmus test as to how we're doing. Also, probably could use that for the Beatitudes as well. It's what are we supposed to be and how can we be more Christ-like? How can we know that we're following that path? Because we always want to have that, the pop quiz. How am I doing? So that way we have an idea as to where we need to work. Where's the needs improvement? Where's the doing good? And where's the failing? And the way Kelly presents this, and I forgot about this message because we had shared this a long, long time ago.
From a different...
from a different video, not the same video. But anyways, it's a great message, and it's a great way to figure out where you're at. And as I go through this, and he's going through it on himself, and he's judging himself. It was kind of neat to see that because he knows he's not perfect, and so he knows where he needs improvement and where he's working. And so that's kind of part of the whole thing is it's always a process of trying to improve. And as we get good in some places, we recognize that we need improvement in other places. And then we improve in those areas. And then we look back and we see that, oh, wow, we were really good in this other place where we thought we were good before. And so we improved there. So it's always this constant rebirth of who we are as we become critical of the places where we make mistakes, so that way we know where we need improvement. And I think that that's a great way to look at this, because we do want to get better, because in the end, we want that eternity with the Father and not eternity in Sheol. It's like not a place anybody really wants to be. And so, yeah, we should always seek that improvement. And the Bible does have plenty of places where it tells us how we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Mike says, if you have a relationship with God, you know where you're at.
Yep.
Yeah. Like that too.
You have the next video?
I have the next video. Okay.
Yeah.
It was kind of an awkward silence while I was waiting there for that. All right. Let's see. Oh, wait. No, don't know what that is. The Florida Surgeon General? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back up here. Florida Surgeon General says his health department will work to end all vaccine mandates. My body, my choice. That was a great one. That really melted a lot of lefties' heads. Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, hope I said that right, made a huge announcement today. Major breaking. The Surgeon General of Florida just announced all vaccine mandates in Florida will be ended, and the room erupted. All, not just COVID, all. Joseph Ladapo says every last one is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Who am I or anyone else to tell you what you have to do? All right, so let's go ahead and listen to what the man said.
But what I'm most excited about is an announcement that we're going to make, that we're making now, which is that the Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Every last one of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? Who am I as a government or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body? I don't have that right. Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body, is because of your relationship with your body and your God. I don't have that right. Government does not have that right. They want you to believe they have that right. And unfortunately, they've been successful. They've been successful.
Thoughts? All right. So that's amazing. It's amazing to hear it from a government official. How do they have the right? Well, the problem is that we gave up that right so long ago. And now that Florida has made it clear that the government doesn't have that right, it's going to be a firestorm throughout the rest of the states in this union. They don't have that right. They just gave themselves that right through fear and lies and subterfuge and everything wrong. And now it's up to you, at least in the state of Florida. And I firmly believe that they shouldn't be able to tell people that. We shouldn't be a medical experimentation guinea pig. And that's what they've done to us, is they've made us their guinea pigs against our will. And who knows how many times the formulas have changed from when the mandate, the requirement, the legal requirement to get said, MMR or whatever. Is it the same as it was back then? I highly doubt it. I'm sure it's changed a million different ways and a million different times. And so, you know what? It's the only way that we can hold some of these pharmaceutical companies accountable, by saying, nope, I'm not taking that trash. And then they'll have to actually do something that's worthwhile. I do believe in medicine. I believe that medicine has the ability to do many amazing things, but we have been going backwards for so long because it's been about money in so many ways. And it's not just the individual doctors. It's going to be these big mega corporations. It's the big mega corporations, like we were talking about earlier, bringing these, migrants over so that way they can pit us against each other. Well, mega corporations seem to be the problem here as well. And I look forward to them having their power taken away, because they can't use money to force a few in the government to make the many do what those few people in the swamp corporations tell us to do.
Exactly. I mean, that was amazing.
That is amazing. That's great stuff.
Yeah. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, Stephen. It's about money and lowering the population for their world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Facts big time. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, would you read that, please?
Rand Paul says, significant revelation coming next week on Fauci. The sickle might be getting put away.
Let's listen.
All righty.
No, I wanted you to come on in July, and I told you, and this was after you once again renewed a criminal referral for Anthony Fauci. This is something I've been talking about a lot, because I saw the smoking gun of him trying to get his colleagues to all say there's no way this was a lab generated virus. And there's a very good reason for him to have done that after he knew full well that the United States had funded some gain of function research, and it was walking and quacking, and it had web feet, and everybody knew. And that was, I think that deserves who cares what I think, But what are the chances that he's held to account someday at this point?
A big question is the auto pen, whether auto pen pardons are constitutional or legal or lawful. We do know that when President Obama first signed a law by auto pen, when he came back from his trip to India, he quickly did sign it in person to make sure it was seen as being legitimate. So I think there is some question there. I can tell you that we are pouring through millions of bits of data on Anthony Fauci. There will be a subpoena in short fashion, and there also will be news in the next week or two about things that we have found from poring over the records. There's going to be significant revelation about Anthony Fauci in the next week.
Okay. What do you make of the new of RFK Jr. and some of the new rules and some of the new developments we've seen with vaccine? That's what I think one of the downfalls of vilifying Anthony Fauci too much is that it plays into some of the some of the people that are total anti-vaxxers, which I don't know if that's, there's somewhere in the middle, isn't there, in the way we conduct policy?
Well, I'm not anti-vaccine, but what I would say is the same way there's a Trump derangement syndrome, there's a Kennedy derangement syndrome. There are some very specific issues we should discuss and where I think the facts are on Kennedy's side. Should we mandate vaccines for 6 months olds for COVID? So we have to ask, what are the risks and what are the benefits? Are any kids dying from COVID currently? I think no healthy kids are dying. And in fact, if you go back through the entire pandemic, about 200 people in the entire country of 350 million people in America, about 200 under 18 died. Virtually everyone had a serious disease also. Virtually no healthy children died. When they did the studies on this, they could not prove that it reduced death or hospitalization because so few people under 18 were going to the hospital or dying that they couldn't prove a benefit. In Germany, they looked at every child under 18 and they had no deaths among healthy children. And so in Europe, they quit promoting this. I think the age is 12 and above in Europe. So these are really honest debates. And I think the extremists are the people on the side of every vaccine is good all the time, the more the better. We don't have to prove risk and benefit. We do know that under 18, really under age 25, there's a risk of myocarditis, presents with chest pain and elevated cardiac isoenzymes, like a heart attack. It's not a heart attack, but this happens in about 6 out of 10,000. That's a small number from the COVID vaccine, but what is the chance of death? It's smaller than that. So you should be presented with these facts and given an alternative. If the CDC says it should be 6 months, many states just get lockstep and they put it into their school program and essentially it becomes a mandate because it's hard to go to school anywhere. Even if private schools follow this. So I'm against the mandates, and I think Kennedy makes a good point.
Thoughts? I don't believe that we were given informed consent, and that's the real problem here. And that's really what Rand Paul was getting at, is informed consent. We need to know exactly what the problems can be, and we need to be able to weigh those risks versus the benefit on our own. And we were denied that. And the press and so many people were pushing this. People who aren't doctors were giving these vaccines out. You go to, what was it, CVS or Walgreens, there was no doctor there, just the pharmacist, and the pharmacist should have a basic idea. But then again, the pharmacists just seem like order takers more so than anything anymore. Because I remember when I was a kid, I remember that it was being stated that if you have 12 or more medications, that you have 100% likelihood of a contraindication of one medication with another. So it's going to nullify one over the other. So, and I know that there's plenty of people who have more than 12, and those risks increase every time you have more than one medication going on. It's something that we don't know anymore. It's that we're not being educated about our health the way we should be. And so I pray that that this whole thing about Fauci comes out soon, especially with California talking about the Rona's back, the Kung Flu is coming back, and you got to wear masks again or something like that. Please don't wear masks in California. Please don't. The drug interaction. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. Thank you, Calbear. I appreciate that. We really need people like Fauci to be held accountable. And we need that. And it needs to be public.
Scumbag.
Well, it certainly seems like that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like that to be proven.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, change my mind.
Right? It needs to be public. And the people need to know. So that way people can stop holding this trust the science himself, Anthony Fauci.
Yeah. When he said that, I
am the science.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to wear 5 masks.
So retarded. Are you ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
Jillian Michaels isn't surprised by those going after RFK Jr.
Let's listen.
I mean, neither am I.
Yeah.
Kennedy's pushing back on this. He's got an op-ed that says we're restoring public trust in the CDC, saying that bureaucratic inertia, politicized science, and mission creep have corroded that purpose and squandered public trust. Isn't it wild to see how both sides see this so violently different?
I actually don't think it's wild at all when you look at where the money is coming from and where the money is going. So I can tell you that Kennedy hasn't ever taken money from big food or big pharma in any capacity. He's spent his entire career fighting these monster corporations, whether it comes to human health, the health of the environment, and of course, how that impacts human health. His biggest critics work for big food, big pharma, have taken money from these organizations. We know this. So when you ask yourself about the motives of either side, I think it's pretty clear what's going on here.
Thoughts?
I mean, it is pretty clear. It's a hit piece on RFK Jr. because he's telling people the truth. And he's trying to end the stranglehold. No, of course they don't like that. He's trying to end the stranglehold on every American's health by these industries that only care about profits and what really looks like eugenicists in the end. And they're just vile people who are going to do pretty much everything. And RFK Jr. is a threat to the narrative that has made them so much money for so long. So of course they want to silence and just bring RFK Jr. down because he's a giant threat to the house of cards that they've built.
Exactly. And I think that you cannot tell me, you cannot convince me that Fauci and Pelosi and all those people didn't
CDC, NIH,
didn't make a ton of money from Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and all of them.
Yeah. Well, they had the most to gain, especially when we know that it was a fabricated bioweapon. I look forward to it being spoken of in a proper manner, that it was a biological weapon that was released on the American people.
Yes, it was.
It was
not just the American people. It was released
the world.
on a lot of people.
It was released on the world. Yeah. Yeah. That it needs to be spoken of in truthful terms. And it was a bioweapon.
It was.
And if I was not mistaken, I thought that doing that kind of research was illegal in the international community. But
supposed to be.
Whatever.
Supposed to be. You ready?
Keep fighting the good fight, RFK Jr. We got your back as best as we can. You just point and we'll do what we need to do.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Whenever the enemy cannot control your story, he will try to silence your praise. How does the enemy try to control your story? He tries to control your story by sowing seeds and ideations and thoughts into your mind to make you say things that are contrary to the will and the plan of God. The enemy cannot control what it is that you think, but he can sow seeds into your mind to get you to say what he wants you to think, because if you say it, then guess what? It attaches it to power. power. Why? Because life and death are in the power of the what? Be careful what you say when you say it, because you may be agreeing with the plan of the enemy and not even know it. So today, it's not that our culture does not believe in the evidence, it's that they are addicted to controlling the narrative of that evidence. Testimonies that don't fit the script of culture and society get silenced. You have to have your mind made up that culture will not control what God has freed. So influence has been replaced with integrity, and integrity has been replaced by influence. We think because we have influence, we walk in integrity. That's not the case. Oftentimes, the most influential people have the least amount of integrity. Why is that the case? Because we think God is the only one that promotes. The enemy also promotes, also attaches influence to your name and gives you a following and gives you people, because he understands that if you will lead more people astray, it makes his job easier.
It ended abruptly, and I was about to sneeze, and then that just completely destroys the sneeze. That's all right. We'll worry about that later.
Thoughts?
All right. We have to take control of our thoughts, and we were talking about this yesterday. The best way to be in control of our thoughts is to focus on something, heart, mind, and soul. Make sure that we are staying focused on whatever it is we're doing in that moment, being present, not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, only working in this one moment that we have right now. All you have is the now. So stay focused on the now and stay focused on whatever it is, that one thing that you're doing. So that way you can keep all of those attacks of the devil, all those little things that go through your head, the naysayer that we have inside, the monkey mind, like I like to call it, just chatter in the background.
And don't forget the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That helps.
Well,
too.
yeah, the use your five senses. Anyways, yeah, it's nowness. Exactly, Stephen. It's staying in the now and being focused on that. So that way we're not worried about all these other things. Don't worry about fame or fortune or any of that other stuff. Don't worry about doing better than somebody else. Don't worry about doing worse than somebody else.
Don't compare yourself to other people.
You have a different path.
You are you and they are them.
Mm-hmm. You do you, boo.
You do you, boo. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Would you read that, please?
It's not racist to want to preserve your culture. That's an interesting concept.
I know. Let's listen.
All right.
It's not racist to not want infinite immigration into your country, especially when your country is struggling. Citizens feeling this way doesn't make them far right, even if they're white. Since late July, there's been a wave of anti-immigration protests in the UK and Australia. In the UK, it was triggered by the arrest of an asylum seeker from Ethiopia who had only been in the UK for 8 days. He was charged with sexually assaulting 3 women, including an underage girl, all while staying at a taxpayer-funded hotel. That struck a nerve among Brits already raw from years of mass migration. In the last decade, the UK's asylum system cost has 10x'd, from £500 million in 2012 to over $5 billion. Crossings over the English Channel rose 48% in 2025. Most cross illegally, then 95% claim asylum. This is straining healthcare, housing, and ripping social fabric apart. If locals are struggling to afford housing and healthcare, how does it make sense to add millions more? Meanwhile, crime is surging in London and wealthy Brits are leaving in record numbers. Foreign nationals were 71% more likely to be convicted of sex crimes. So, of course, citizens are protesting. But if you look at the media coverage, what do they call these protests? Far right, neo-Nazis, political swear words that shut down honest conversation before it even happens, particularly when the people protesting are white. But citizens of all ethnicities protest when welcoming foreigners undermines locals. Burkina Faso is rejecting French colonial influence. Are they far right? Mexicans are protesting wealthy Americans gentrifying Mexico City. Are they far right? Countries aren't just plots of land. They are communities. Rational immigration policy treats immigration as a privilege, not a right. A privilege granted only when it benefits the locals, because the needs of people already inside the community comes before the desires of those outside of it. That's the only way to build healthy communities foreigners want to join in the first place. So you need a criteria for immigrants, part economic, part cultural, because cultures are software, and software has compatibility issues. The more different the software, the more issues you have. First world and third world cultures are going to have compatibility issues. Christian and Islamic cultures have some compatibility issues. Does that mean they can't coexist? Of course not. But it does mean that immigration policy must be proportional and intentional, not illegal and not infinite. That's why first world Muslim countries like Qatar and UAE have some of the strictest immigration policies in the world. But when Western governments don't have rational policies, they bully decent people into silence by calling them far-right, racist, xenophobes. Or they point out that a subset of protesters are neo-Nazis, implying guilt by association. This tactic is called ad hominem, attacking the person instead of the argument. The media does this constantly because it works. But here's the danger. When you shame reasonable people into silence, the real racists are the only ones who get heard. If you're tired of feeling manipulated and demonized by the media, ad hominem is one of the 10 techniques in Clear Thinker to help you find calm amidst the chaos.
Thoughts?
All right. So, wow, you know, he was bringing up some great points, and he said even if they are white, and I really do believe that he was trying to tell people of color that they need to keep it down, because it's not a white, it's not a black, it's not a brown, yellow, red, any color kind of problem. Think about everything that's going on in Europe. I mean, they were pointing out that people are coming across boats across the English Channel. Since when has England not been able to protect the channel?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. God, who was that? That was caused the Battle of Hastings. Way back in like 1000 was the last time England wasn't able to protect the channel. So it's an intentional thing that's going on. Everybody needs to understand America does have its own culture. It's not a color thing. We do have our own culture. We do have Hispanics here. Just go look at Tejas. There's plenty of brown people all over Texas who love Texas. There's plenty of Hispanics here in Nevada who love America and want American culture. 1066. Thank you, Cal Bear. So, and especially in Europe, the Norman Conquest. See, I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. Y'all always have all the answers.
We have the best family on
We
the
do have the
planet.
best fam on the planet here. Anyways, in Europe, French people should be allowed to be French. They shouldn't be German. We kind of fought a whole war for that one, but Germany should have its own culture, not this modernist socialist communist crap that is devoid of any kind of German culture whatsoever. Britain has its own culture, separate from Scottish culture, separate from Irish culture. All of these things are different, and they need to be held that way because people need to understand that we are different and we need to celebrate our differences. But if everybody's culture is erased and we have this monoculture that's the same across the entire world, then this world is going to suck because everybody's exactly the same. Nobody wants that. It needs to be that everybody is free to be who they are with the confines of you are free to do whatever you want. Your personal liberty is as boundless as you want it to be, so long as it does not infringe on somebody else's personal liberty. It's the personal liberty. And as a nation, we have our own national liberty that is supposed to be different from Mexico, that is supposed to be different from Canada. And just as Quebec is different from any other state in Canada, just as different as New York is from Texas, which is different from Florida, which is different from California. Each state has its own heritage, its own culture, and you shouldn't go to another state and tell that state your culture is wrong. It's just the way people are. People need to be able to be proud of who they are, where they come from, and what they do. America is a melting pot, but it's a melting pot where people come here and they lose the culture from where they came from, and they gain the culture from where they're at. That is one of the things that made America great, because that new culture that you have ascribed to, that you have chosen to be a part of, is one of inclusion while still remaining individual.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly, Silver. Different cultures add flair and color.
Yeah. And I mean, I grew up in Texas, and in Texas, you know, if your child is on the dean's list, or if your child plays sports, or if your child is a cheerleader or whatever, you have this big sign out in front of your house, and you celebrate your child for what they do, you know. And my mom did that for my basketball, and she did it for my academics. And when I met Santino and I came to Las Vegas, and I would drive through the neighborhood and not see any of those signs, I was like, well, wait a minute. You grew up in Texas too. What's going on here? How? He said, yeah, we just don't do that here. And it was shocking to me. But I didn't go door to door and say, hey, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
They just do it differently.
Although I will say that homeowner
You know.
associations in general are doing it wrong.
Yeah. But, you know,
The way they're done.
in
They could be
Texas, a
better.
whole town will shut down for a championship game.
But they'll shut down every Friday night.
Yeah,
What was it? The movie Friday Night Lights?
exactly.
Yeah, that's real out there.
Yeah.
Because it is a state heritage that everybody is proud of. You do football in Texas.
You do.
There's nothing wrong
And you
with that.
do it big and you do it proud.
There you go.
See, Steven knows because he's in Texas.
There you go.
So does Carol. So does Dawn. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is. And
Texas, oh hail our mighty state.
You ready?
I had to learn that at the sesquicentennial.
Yes.
We sang it in 4th grade. It probably sounded just as awful as it just did for y'all. But thank you for being patient with my singing.
Thank you, Cal.
Thanks, Cal.
You ready?
Yep.
Would you listen, please? Or
Well, yeah, I'll listen.
would you read, please?
Oh, you want me to read first?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay. London is even worse than how it's being portrayed by legacy media. That's terrible.
Let's listen.
Londonistan.
I spent the last 3 years living in England as an American, and everyone always asks me if it's as bad as they say, to which my answer is always, it is worse. You have no idea how this affects your day-to-day life, how unsafe I felt living in London. And I lived in West London in Zone 1, which is like about as nice as it gets. And I had my phone stolen multiple times right out of my hand, because what they do is they wear masks and then they'll take their little e-bikes and they'll come and grab your phone out of your hand. And they do it all the time. It's like known. They'll stalk you. They'll follow you. They use intimidation tactics. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. I wouldn't dream of walking home alone at night. I'd always take a cab. You have to constantly live in fear and with the expectation that something bad is going to happen. And it's always at the hands of migrants. And so much of it goes unreported and undocumented that it's like, it is so much worse than people understand. And it affects your life in ways that you don't understand. I really hope that the US learns from this and sees this, because the only way that these people got in are through leftist ideologies, open borders, virtue signaling, DEI initiatives. Keir Starmer himself recently said that the greatest threat to the UK is Islamophobia, not Islam. I mean, he's literally paying for them to come in and rape women and children, to commit crimes at higher rates. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's a government against its own people. It's created two-tier justice, and this is all through leftist ideologies. And we are so lucky in America that we have an ocean separating us from Europe right now. But if we don't learn from their failures and their fall, which is what's going to happen, their fall, we deserve what's coming for us. And what's coming for us is ugly.
Thoughts?
I'd like to say that we won't allow that here in America, but yet we are allowing that here in America. But then again, we're not allowing it because we reelected President Trump, and President Trump is going to prevent that from happening. America will be secured by the time President Trump's presidency has completed. The next 3 years and about 3-4 months ish, something like that. And I do believe that, especially as everybody continues to push forward and as more and more people continue to wake up, I believe that not only will America be saved from these kinds of problems, the whitewashing of America, or whatever you want to call it, but I also believe that it is inspiring these other nations to stand up for themselves, just like that article before where they were talking about there are protests that are happening in the UK, that are happening in Australia, saying that we're tired of this that's going on in our nation. So it's just about the people standing up and saying enough is enough. And as more people reach down and grab a hold and realize that what they actually have, and they stand up for it, regardless of the personal consequences, I believe that it's inspiring to other people. And as more and more people are inspired to say enough is enough, we will be able to save our planet. And these people who have lost their way will find their way back home, and they will actually be the people that they were supposed to be back at their homes too. Mike says it will start in America and spread around the world. Amen, brother. That's how I see it. Steph says we made it through all the way to get Trump back in. We can make it a little further because we see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, and it ain't the train.
It ain't the train. It ain't the train. You ready?
Yep.
Would you read that, please?
All right. Let's see. Kirk Cameron explains the real reason for the tranny attacks on Christian students.
Let's listen.
The demons.
Yeah.
A cruel and cowardly person walked up to the Annunciation Catholic School and opened fire through the stained glass windows onto a room full of children praying in the pews. What we know is that the shooter was once named Robert. Legal documents actually show that his parents changed his name to Robin to match his preferred gender identity. 2 years ago, there was another gender-confused shooter who unleashed chaos at the Covenant Christian School. These poor, lost, sick individuals, somewhere in their story, believed the lie that God's not there, God doesn't love them, they're trying to figure out the world. And then there's a lie whispered by a morally deranged culture. You can find identity and purpose and peace if you reinvent yourself on the gender bender roller coaster. But instead of peace, they find more disillusionment, disappointment, frustration, hopelessness. The hopelessness festers into anger, and then the unthinkable violence is unleashed.
I agree with Stephen. Darkness.
It is darkness.
Thoughts.
The unthinkable is unleashed because these poor souls are convinced by other people who have embraced the darkness within themselves, who have been given some kind of authority for some strange reason to be able to tell people that they aren't what they actually are, that what you see in the mirror is not who you are, and that you are clearly something that you're not. That is a big problem. And I don't know how we got to this point, but it's been going on for a long time, because I remember the trans conversation back when I was a wee lad back in the 80s.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
I identify as a millionaire. My bank account just doesn't believe it, because if I was, I'd be living in San Diego, going to Coyote Cafe with Silver and Cowbear.
look, I identify as more than that. But anyways, it's something that we need to recognize, is that it's not just one person. One person is not responsible for this. There is what I believe a very culpable pharmaceutical industry. I believe that there's a very culpable subsector set of the mental health industry, and it's being what's the word? Promoted. Thank you. Being promoted by the legacy media, which has had significantly more sway and power over people. And once it was recognized that they had that much power, and now that we do recognize that they have excessive amounts of power, that they should not be allowed to have that or wield that power again, because they've proven themselves. And that's all of these groups to be untrustworthy. And it's gotten to the point where these people have gotten to the point where they're willing to commit unspeakable acts, and they even say in their letters that they regret going through this process. It's something that needs to change.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cowbear says these poor people, I do feel bad for the individuals. I really do. I care for them. My heart goes out to them. Who I'm pissed off at are the people who have been pushing this narrative that's pushing these people to end up hating themselves so much. I don't know what kind of psychology says that you're supposed to make the patient hate who they are, but I don't think that I've ever seen anything that's ever been beneficial to any one human being. Chad says, our born trust says different. All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
How about some Craig?
Okay.
Jonah wanted to skip God's lessons and go straight to God's blessings. Come on, I made that up this week. I hope you like it. I mean, we don't want the hard stuff, and we don't want the discipline, and we don't want to be patient, and that whole being conformed to the image of Christ, and blessed are those who are persecuted, and hey, perseverance will help finish a person and change the way, conform them to Jesus. Now, he didn't want that, but God was about to teach him a lesson, and he didn't want that. So what did God do? God provided a plant, and Jonah started to get comfortable in the shade. Here's what I've noticed. About the time you start to get comfortable is when God has a way of stretching your faith. The moment we start to get comfortable, God tends to teach us that we still need him.
Thoughts?
Yeah, there's no growth in comfort.
No.
Found that out on more than, well, every occasion.
A million occasions, yeah.
When we get comfortable is about the time that it's time to start growing again. We are able to hit that plateau, get our bearings, get our sea legs going, and then another storm comes up. Bam! All of a sudden, another storm comes, and it's like, okay, but I'm dealing with everything that I had a problem dealing with much better than I did before. I just have these new exciting problems that I have to get stabilized with as the stormy seas are trying to cause all these problems. But it's about helping us grow, so that way we can help other people grow, so that way they can get through their storms. And if we can help, if we can learn how to navigate our own ship, then we can help other people navigate the storms in their lives too. And that is probably one of the most rewarding things that we can do, is to try to help others. Just going to go ahead and say, what doesn't look totally human because of his eyes.
JD Vance.
JD Vance. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You have the next two videos, sir.
I do. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, here, let's make sure we get all this stuff going good here.
I mean, they're talking about Rubio in the chat, so let's bring up.
Speaking of Marco Rubio.
Speaking of Rubio.
Rubio to visit Mexico, Ecuador, to discuss cartels, tariffs, and migration. All right. Let us move on.
From our nation's capital, we're going to start tonight with a little bit of breaking news. Just a few moments ago, President Trump confirmed that the U.S. military strike killed 11 members of Tren de Agua on a boat in international waters heading from Latin America to the United States with drugs to poison our young adults. He said that no military personnel on our side were injured, but the first really significant strike against Venezuelan gang drugs who've been bringing all that poison into our country. We're going to keep a close eye on that at justthenews.com. And here.
All right. Well, I guess we're done with that real quick.
Yeah.
It's just out of nowhere.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Hold on a second here. Thank you. Okay. So Yes, Marco Rubio is going to be going over to Mexico and these countries. He's doing a world tour like the Secretary of State is supposed to be doing, and he's going to gather support and press the American initiative and our foreign policy to the leaders of this nation to let them know, hey, this is what we've got going on. We've got these problems, and we really think you should help us out. And if you don't help us out, we don't really care because we got these things to do. Because our job as the elected officials over and the appointed officials in the executive branch, our job is to protect the people of the United States. And that's what we're going to do. And so we're just going to see how this all plays out in the end. I know that President Trump has been making some conversations and really saying you don't want to play stupid games over here on our soil because you're going to find out some really interesting kind of plays that y'all don't know about. And I know that if you go to a lot of chats and you see the people that are pro Viva Mexico kind of stuff, and they say, oh yeah, the cartels, and the cartels are very dangerous, don't get me wrong, but they always bring up, oh, your special forces, even some of your special forces are in the cartels. Yeah, some of them, but those were the people that didn't happen to know everything that's going on. And even though they sent our special forces over there to work hand in hand with some of those cartel members, just means we taught them everything that they know. Doesn't mean we taught them everything that we know. We always got tricks up our sleeve because, well,
we're not dumb.
America.
Yeah, we're not dumb. You ready?
Yeah, I'm
You
ready.
have the next
And I
one?
have the next one. Yes, you said this already. All right. Former U.S. Army Special Forces warns cartels of holy hell unleashed. All right. Let's see what we got here.
Right. And so you have drugs pouring into the country. People are dying. You have Chevron getting screwed around with. And you have a guy down there that's flirting with Putin, flirting with Xi in China. Do you think this kind of operation, if it goes forward, has the support of the American people?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the American people are sick of seeing these drug traffickers and these cartels destroying our country with no consequences. And if any of these people down in South America think they're going to make friends in our hemisphere with the Russians and the Chinese or anybody else, they're going to find out that President Trump is back in charge. America's on top. That's not going to play.
Is there a risk of counterstrikes inside the U.S. proper from the cartels?
There is, and the idea, I mean, asymmetric warfare is the Achilles heel of the United States. We are one giant soft target here inside the United States. However, payback can be a medevac if they try something like that. You go ahead and hit us here and you want to see some holy hell unleashed wherever you're operating. I don't think they do it more than once.
Yeah, you're right about that. Jim, good to talk to you as always.
All right. And that's kind of how it is. Be prepared and be concerned. It is something to worry about because, like he said, this is a very soft target here in the U.S. Are there a bunch of, gun-toting America kind of people running around? Yeah, 100%. But in the end, the cartels are a lot more organized than most people think. They are a finely tuned organization. But we've learned a lot about coin ops, counterinsurgency operations, and it would be a counterinsurgency. That's exactly what's going on. Is a counterinsurgency operation, and this boat that we just blew up yesterday or the day
Just
yesterday.
about to go over it.
Okay, that is the first. That's the first shot in this whole thing, and we'll see how it turns out. It's something that you should keep your eye out for, and understand that it could get ugly before it gets better. But these are the things that ICE has been working on. Something that I said before is the operation that they did out there in LA. I have a feeling that was to take away a lot of the power, and the ICE has been going after the major power players inside of the United States to get them out of here before anything happens. That's why they're not sending them back down to Central and South America. They're sending them over to Africa and so many other places. It is something that is going to play out. Just be vigilant and aware of what's going on around you, and the people that, what it looks like they're doing. Always look people at their eyes and see what they're looking at.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Okay.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for joining, man. POTUS shares video of 11 Tranny narco-terrorists getting smoked while trying to smuggle drugs.
Let's watch.
All right. There's no sound on this one.
No.
All right. Yes.
But it's pretty amazing.
What's he got? Running 4 Mercuries in the back?
I think so.
Some choppy seas. They're getting tossed around out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now it's moving. And boom. All right, there it goes. Yeah, positive effects on target.
They F'd.
FO'd. Yeah, they found out.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts?
It's more, I don't know, just TV porn for people that like to watch war. But it's also showing us that something's going on. That wasn't a really big explosion. It's not like they were dropping a 500-pound. Oh, yeah, I guess. Soundtrack's delayed. My bad.
Exactly, Stephen. Bye-bye.
It's, yeah. Yeah,
Poof,
I'm
gone.
Curious as to what they used on that because it
Poof,
wasn't very big.
You know,
I don't
but
know.
here's
Navy's
the,
got some cool toys, and that wasn't one of their cool toys.
yeah. But here's the thing.
All right, let's hear it.
The reason why that's important is because Trump is saying, I've told you, I've warned you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
this is what's going to happen.
I mean,
And so, yeah, he put it out. And that's exactly what people need to see is don't bring that junk here. Don't bring your illegal ass here. Don't bring junk. Don't
bring the drugs here.
Yeah.
The drugs, they're killing Americans. And that's something that I think people need to remember is these drug traffickers who are also human traffickers at the same time. They're killing Americans. They're killing our people. They're killing our neighbors.
They're not just illegal because they came here illegally. They're illegals because they're killing people.
Well, I mean, they came here illegally. That's why they're illegals. But at the same time, the
But
things
they're
that they
doing
have to
a
do.
lot more things.
Yeah, they're doing a lot more. And that's the real point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, Angie. He ain't playing around. Just not.
Just not.
Just not. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
How about some clip?
That Cliff is always good.
All right, let's listen.
All righty.
When Jesus says, judge not lest you be judged, he's not saying suspend your critical thinking and blindly accept everything as equally valid. Baloney. 14 verses later, in Matthew 7:15, Jesus says, beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves, and they will eat your lunch, guys. So don't be gullible. You got to be skeptical, Jesus is teaching. Why? Because good and evil are so intertwined in this messed up world we live in that if you're not skeptical, you'll get ripped off. Don't do that. It's not smart.
Thoughts?
I mean, no, don't be blind. Or we're not supposed to be blind. As a matter of fact, God is trying to help us not be blind. But we must use our God-given ability to judge people and situations. It's just that when we make those judgments, we don't cast those judgments on other people. It's that we make the judgment as to whether or not we should be hanging out with them or how we should or should not be interacting with people. We should always be aware of what's going on. We just need to be very careful about who we spend our time with, because we can find ourselves put into a very bad situation because we weren't paying attention to the wolf that was clothed in the sheepskin that it, put on top of itself. We need to make sure that we are aware of the people that we're around, the situations that we find ourselves in, so that way we can keep ourselves close to the shepherd. That's the one that we should be, those are the judgments that we should be utilizing.
Exactly. Are you ready?
Yeah. Can you pop that one up from Left Lane? About tell you what though, brother.
Okay.
Said, I tell you what though, brother, I think marijuana is better than opium or fentanyl, getting it. I do believe in the healing effects of marijuana. I think that it is good. I think that it's a better medicine than a lot of the stuff that pharmakia gives us. And I think that it can be very helpful. I believe that opium can be helpful, but it is easily abused. And I think that all of these things that grow naturally were put there for us. It's just a matter of us being able to use these natural, in the end, poisons to a level where they can be beneficial. But it needs to be done, and it needs to be done. If it needs to be done, then it needs to be done properly. I don't recommend that, people do drugs, but I do believe that these natural drugs are much better than the chemical creations that are provided to everybody over the counter. There, that's all I got about that one.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. CBS hasn't learned its lesson. Edits Kristi Noem segment to exclude important information.
What?
What a surprise.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Let's listen.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors. And even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America. And our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
Boy, put that one in the Telegram too, because that's one that needs to be kept for posterity.
But,
Because,
just crazy.
yeah. And the thoughts on it this is the typical legacy media and why people are turning away from them more and more every day, because they are preventing the truth from coming out. How many of y'all remember 60 Minutes at all? But how many of y'all remember 60 Minutes when they did the whole Chevy truck exploding bit, where they put explosive devices underneath the truck to make it look like the Chevys just randomly exploded? That's the press. They need to make a story. If it bleeds, it leads. And if they can make this story seem like the American government that is in power right now is absolutely corrupt and they're just picking on poor little Maryland man, then that's what they need to do. Well, again, they have to do it now because they've painted themselves in that corner where they must get rid of the current administration, because their previous coup attempt through Biden didn't work out so hot, and so they have no choice but to step on the gas. But the problem is that they're just gonna God, what was that movie? Two broads in the car go over.
Oh, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, they're gonna Thelma and Louise right over the edge of the cliff, and President Trump is letting them do it.
He really is.
Sounds like a Democrat.
Agreed, Cal Bear.
What? Who? Me?
No, not you. The news.
Oh, okay.
It is wrong, Stephen. It is. And you know what, Liberty? The fact that you need it and it's not legal there, it's like, I don't know why these states are holding out. It is a natural plant that grows anywhere.
That's about how it's
It
used.
should be legal everywhere. We worked in the industry, and I can tell you, working in the industry, it wasn't just
The amount of research that's been done on it to show that it's better than.
Well, that's not what I was gonna say.
Oh, my bad.
It wasn't just like 21-year-olds coming in there. We had customers that were in their 90s coming in because they needed it, because it's good for Parkinson's, it's good for glaucoma, it's good for diabetes, it's good for so many different
A
things.
lot of people have had better luck with it than methadone
Yeah.
for getting off of, the heavier drugs.
And Carol, yeah,
It needs to be researched, and it needs to be peer-reviewed medical research. And a lot of universities are doing that research. It's just that information needs to get out into the mainstream.
Yeah. And actually, Carol,
Y'all can find the research
it
out there.
drives me crazy that Texas is being so dumb about it, because New Mexico is legal, Oklahoma is legal. I mean, everywhere around you is legal. It should be legal everywhere. It can help you lose weight. It can help you gain weight.
Depends on the terpenes you use.
It definitely depends on the terpenes, and you have to look up the terpenes, and you have to know what temperature to actually smoke the terpenes at.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. Like I said, actual medical research needs to be done. And nobody has ever died from it. It's suppressed, and you have to go find it. But the ATF
I know,
DEA had done the research, and they put so much THC into a mouse that it would have been like smoking 100 pounds of it. And if that basically, if the amount of THC that was in the mouse would have died from asphyxiation, but it wouldn't have died from the THC.
Exactly.
And like there's research out there.
And Angie, I think it's crazy that it's not legal there either. Anywhere where it's not legal.
I wonder what industry could possibly be suppressing the information that this would be helpful.
Exactly, Chad. They know it's good for us, just like nicotine. We played that video, about 6 months ago, where Tucker was showing proof that natural nicotine is good for you. It's when they put all the chemicals in the cigarettes that make them bad.
Yeah, exactly, Left Lane. It's called the endocannabinoid system. Pop that comment up.
Hold on. You should grow your own. You should. There you go.
All right. Left Lane says, and just think, it's got a receptor in your brain that fits the marijuana molecule. Exactly. Imagine that. It's an entire system. It's the endocannabinoid system. You can look it up. It's out there. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get stuck on this conversation for like 3 days.
I know.
Many of our organs have nicotine receptors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You ready?
Mhm.
Would you read that, please?
All righty. When did restaurant food change? Oh my God, so long ago. It's not the same anymore.
No, let's listen.
Basura. We got to hit play.
I did.
It's not playing.
It's being a goober.
It's being internet-y.
Apparently.
All right. Who broke the internet? Which one of y'all broke the internet?
Apparently God wanted us.
I find this very interesting. I'm going to talk to my mom about this after I do this podcast, because we have been talking for ever since the pandemic. It seems like food has changed. So many of the restaurants that we went to regularly, my mom's like, I've not had a good meal. And she keeps saying, did my taste buds change after COVID? And I'm like, I don't think so. I swear this food is different. And it's just, you go there and you spend money and you're like, I could have made something way better at home. But that's not how it used to be.
That is exact. So, and I'll tell you what. So it started in like the 2011 to 2015, like restaurant gold rush. It was amplified, exacerbated, and blown up during the pandemic, right? So the infrastructure was there with a lot of these co-packers. And I know this because we actually have franchise, right? So I had restaurants across 13 different states, and they could not produce some of my products on site. So I was out there shopping co-packers that would do it organically without the preservatives. By the way, couldn't find any. But I went deep into that co-packer world, and the goal was consistency, standardization, plus then you can actually co-pack it and determine and sell it for retail. Everybody during the pandemic started doing this, because I remember reaching out during the pandemic back to a couple of these people. They're like, we're full. I'm like, you're beyond capacity. Like, we're 2 years beyond capacity, especially because these larger multi-unit chains were doing it. But as I mentioned earlier on, the chemicals and whatever. I'm not using chemicals as a pejorative here, because somebody on X is going to be like, well, technically all food is chemicals. The, kind of lab created.
You don't even have to explain, because I don't care about those people. I mean, now I'll get yelled at. Like, there's people she doesn't care about. I don't care if you're going to rip on what I have to say.
I just always need to disclaimer this. Kind of the lab created food items and simple things. A lot of them are just preservatives, but preservatives are like salt and acid. So ultimately it's going to change the flavor profile. MSG is, kind of technically one of those preservatives. That's going to significantly change the flavor profile, right? Carrageenan, these kind of emulsifiers, these artificial emulsifiers, xanthan gum. It's not even the same. It's like actually it's beyond apples to oranges. It's more like steak to grass, in my opinion. So that's what.
So it changes the flavor.
Yeah, it significantly changes the flavor. The flavor, the mouthfeel. And also a lot of restaurants think now you can extend the shelf life on these products, so they keep them a lot longer. Which doesn't mean you're going to get sick, but anything as it oxidizes, decreases, it loses its potency and freshness and flavor. So. I'm not suggesting they're serving you something bad. I'm suggesting they're serving you something that's muted in flavor as well.
Thoughts?
One of the many reasons we don't eat out very much. And I will say that the food at the grocery store is changing too. A lot of it doesn't feel like I'm getting the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that I used to get. And it started to feel that way for the fast food joints for forever ago.
Yeah.
But something about the fast food joints is they seem to be putting something in there to make people keep wanting to come back. But in the end, you end up feeling sick. Food is something that I just don't trust anymore. It's so sad because I remember watermelons once upon a time, and we stopped buying watermelons unless it's pre-cut, which is real sad. But that's because every watermelon that we've purchased from the store has some weird look to it. It just doesn't look right. The last one we had looked like it was kind of like crossbreed between a loofah and a watermelon on the inside. It just didn't make sense. It was awful. The food's been rubbery. It's just food's been changing. And this is there's another reason why they want to stop RFK Jr. But the good thing is RFK Jr., he's not going to stop. I will say this about the Kennedys. They will put it all on the line for the people. And for that, yeah, it would support them as much as we can. But in the meantime, they're going to fight every way they can by trying to hurt us through the food supply and poisoning the well. It's absolutely appalling what is happening to the people through the food and water supply. I don't know if that's the case, Chad. But then again, it wouldn't surprise me. That's where some of the experimentation comes from. Slishy without the flavor. Yeah.
They will. The Kennedys will just keep on keeping on.
That's the kind of thing that royals are supposed to be made of.
We do not, Silver.
What? Do you guys have a Sweet Greens franchise? All organic, non-GMO, no seed oils. No, never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah. You have the next video.
I have the next video.
Your very last one.
All right. Oh, yeah. It's like a 30-minute video or something, so we're not going to play all of it, but we're going to...
It's got great information, though.
But it apparently has great information. I didn't get to listen to any of it.
I'll put it in the Telegram.
All right. Here we go.
It's been no secret. I've been a conservative and a Christian all my life, and being in Hollywood since the mid-'80s, all's been that way. It was never a problem in the 80s, even the 90s. I mean, I shot New Zealand. The 7 years of Hercules from 93 to 2000. And it's pretty much a socialist country, and I knew the guest stars and stuff would give me a little hard time. And I'm going, yeah, socialism works great, doesn't it? So I said, and I used to laugh at some of the people I worked with. I said, you're making money in a capitalist business. This is owned by Universal Studios. Do you think they don't want to make money? I love the hypocrisy of the left. It cracks me up.
Revolution of common sense.
Revolution of common sense.
A revolution of common sense.
Truth was once common sense, but today truth is uncommon. Explore biblical truths around faith, business, and politics with Peter Demas. Uncommon sense in current times.
Hey folks, welcome to Uncommon Sense in Current Times. I'm excited to be here with Kevin Sorbo. Most of you know him as Hercules, the popular show from the early 90s to 2000. He's appeared in 40 films. He's an outspoken Christian conservative. He's produced, starred in numerous faith-based, family-friendly projects through Sorbo Studios. So again, Kevin, thank you so much for being here. I know you're extraordinarily busy with everything you're doing, but I greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. We have to update the bio. I've done 95 movies. So.
Are you serious? Well, it is over 40. So I do notice that it seems like every time I watch any type of faith-based film, you're in it. I kind of.
I've got four that are complete done, ready to get out. Hopefully, we can get enough money to get them in theaters. I got 3 documentaries done, ready to come out. I know 2 of the documentaries will definitely be out this year. I've just shot 2 more movies this year. I leave tomorrow to shoot another one in West Virginia. And then October, November, I'm directing and acting in a movie in New Orleans. So knock on wood, I'm staying busy.
Wow, that is really busy.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, because again, you were kind of the beginning of, or kind of like the face of the beginning part of cancel culture before it was like really cancel culture.
I'm ground zero.
Yeah. So, but you're. I have to ask, like, so when it started, did you kind of, did you kind of start recognizing it, but then you're like, I don't really care, I'm going to still speak out anyway? Like, how did that kind of play out beforehand? Or it was like you just said something too much and then one day realized this isn't working?
No, exactly what you just said. I started recognizing it, but I didn't change what I was posting on the internet. I mean, I've been doing it forever. It's been no secret. I've been a conservative and a Christian all my life, and being out in Hollywood since the mid '80s, all's been that way. It was never a problem in the '80s, even the '90s. You know, I mean, I shot New Zealand, the 7 years of Hercules from '93 to 2000, and it's pretty much a socialist country, you know. And I knew the guest stars and stuff would give me a little hard time. And I'm going, yeah, socialism works great, doesn't it? You know. So I said, and I used to laugh at some of the people I worked with. I said, You're making money in a capitalist business. This is owned by Universal Studios. Do you think they don't want to make money? I love the hypocrisy of the left. It cracks me up. But it really started hitting, I think, when the internet was born and started accelerating. So you get to 2005, 2006. My wife started saying, maybe, be careful what you say. And I go, I'm not posting anger. I'm just posting the truth, with a bit of sarcasm attached to it, because I'm one of 4 boys. And when we get together, it's like it's like a late night show fest. But it was about 12 years ago. My manager and agent called me in. It was like an intervention. And they said, no one wants to work with you in the studios anymore. I said, why? I said, well, the things you post. And I said, the truth? I mean, just because I have a different point of view than Hollywood does, they don't want to work with me. They're such petty little children. They really are. And I don't harbor that anger, hatred that people have a different point of view, but these guys do. Things are changing. There's a tipping point going on, I got to say. But it was crazy there from, certainly from 2010 to 2022, 23. I mean, there was a long.
All right. I guess we're done with that.
Yeah. It's great information. He goes over all the stuff that Hollywood does if you are a conservative, and the lengths they will go to make sure that you cannot work.
I would say the most public one was
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Think about
he got
it.
raked over the coals many times.
They've all had to produce their own films.
Mhm.
Kevin Sorbo had to start his own production company, and now he does faith-based, shows and movies.
Really?
That's ridiculous that you have to do that. Anyway, thoughts?
Mr. Sorbo, I'd love to, do any of those. I don't know, whatever. That'd be awesome. Anyway,
Right?
it's sad. We've known this about Hollywood for so long, that they've been shoving out people of a conservative nature, of a Christian persuasion. They just don't want it. They don't want it, even though it could make all sorts of money. And then when they do it, they do it in the absolute worst way possible. Look at the movie Noah.
Mock it.
Yeah, they mock it. Look at what they did with the movie Noah. It was just unwatchable. And then we saw some series on David. Boy, that was terrible too.
Oh, that was horrible. God bless you.
Thank you.
It was so horrible, and it's like,
but that's why they're crashing.
They're great actors, Mel Gibson, Kevin Sorbo, Jim Caviezel. They're all great, But because they love God and because they refuse to do certain things, oh, got to get rid of you. Ugh.
What it is.
It's so disgusting,
But
though.
everything that they're doing to the people who have been of the conservative and especially the Christian mindset, it's going to happen to them, but it's going to happen to them 3 times worse. It says that in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, what you do to other people will come back to you threefold. They're going to just end up being minimized. Nobody's going to care. Their business models are going to crash, and what is good and what is right will rise to the top. It's not that acting is going to go away. Nobody has a problem with acting or movies or TV or the news. It's the way it's being done, and that's the real problem. And it's because they're so myopic, because they're so closed-minded, because they only have that one perspective, that one point of view. It's made it so that way everything that they do is unpalatable. We can't stand to see what they're doing, and more people are sick of it, and they're turning away from it. Who wants to go spend that much money to go see a movie? For a movie that's
Just
going
a
to
movie.
push a narrative?
Right.
It's like,
Let's not even talk about the $40 small thing of
popcorn. It must be
Sorry.
something in the air. Who knows what's going on?
And then the $30 small drink,
Right? Yeah, you can't go to a movie under
$200.
I was going to say at least $50.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And Angie says, we don't want what they have in Hollywood either.
Well, and that's why so many people are leaving, and they're starting up these studios in other states.
I mean, even we have a studio here because Mark Wahlberg couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. I think there's actually going to be 2 studios here.
There are.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah.
Viva Las
Exactly,
Vegas.
Chad. Burn it all down.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Well, not in, you know what I mean.
Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking.
All right.
Speaking of people, yeah, I need to get a drink. That's what's going on. You know what? Speaking of people who have been treated like crap because of their belief, let's listen to Tim Tebow.
There we go.
What happens if you're a leader with a great vision, with amazing belief, with extreme passion, but it doesn't just end with passion? Because there's a lot of people that are passionate. But you know, we're not just going to have passion, but we're also going to have compassion. Passion means you care so much for something you're willing to suffer for it. Compassion means you care so much for someone you're willing to suffer with them. You want to be a leader that lasts? Yes, you have passion, but then you also have compassion, and you merge those so you care about the bottom line, but you care even more about the bottom person.
Thoughts?
Caring about other people. That's the thing that really is the trick. And that's something that's been forgotten in today's society in so many ways, because the only way so many people get to the top, and I'm not saying this is the case everywhere, but the way so many people get to the top is by stepping on other people so that way they can rise higher. And I've seen it happen a million ways from Sunday. It's just the way that society has become: a lack of compassion, a lack of empathy for other people.
A lack of caring.
A lack of care for anything other than self. Yeah. It's something that I think that is changing. I think that mindset is changing, and people are getting fed up with it. It's not just a few people anymore. It's so many people, because it's becoming so apparent that the way things are being done, and we all know it doesn't have to be done this way, that somebody has to suffer so somebody else can succeed. And we know in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls that that's not the case, that we can all rise together if we just have compassion for one another. We don't have to make anybody suffer so that way other people can do well. And to be honest with you, the whole world is starting to see it. And it's another one of those things where it's like one of the reasons why people like Trump. Yeah, he's rich, but he also helps so many people.
And he cares.
Has he been a saint? No, he has not. All right.
No one is.
No one
We're
is.
all sinners.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. You know what one of the biggest problem is people are so freaking concerned with themselves. You can even see it on the freeway because people are so damn worried about what's happening on their Instagram and their Facebook and this and that, every social media.
Driving like this.
They don't care if they kill someone. And it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Take cell phones away.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Make cell phones where they turn off while the car is in motion.
Yeah, well, that'll never happen.
Mm.
But I understand the knee-jerk reaction.
I know. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Remember, the person you are destined to become is the person that you decide to be. Every decision, every choice, every sacrifice shapes the path to your future. Greatness isn't given, it's forged. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So ask yourself, who are you becoming? Will you rise when others rest? Will you focus when others falter? Will you decide to step into the life you deserve? Destiny doesn't wait. It's earned with every choice, every action, every day. The world will ask you who you are. Answer loudly. The only limits are the ones you accept. So decide now. Who will you become?
All right, thoughts.
All right. So there is an amount of choice as to what we do in our lives. And granted, it's inside of the battlefield, inside of our head. And we need to focus on that, on which is right and which is proper. And we need to focus our efforts on trying to do things as best as we can. Now, there is a fate, the fate that each and every one of us has. There are things that we are supposed to do in life, and we will have to do those because it's part of God's plan. But the way it happens, the way we go about doing it, and the manner and the emotion that we have behind it is entirely based on us. And that can determine the way it's perceived, not only for ourselves, but the way it's perceived in the world around us. Are we doing it for something for ourselves, or are we doing it for other people? Are we selfless, or are we selfish? And so we need to make sure that we are focused on the things that we actually have control over, which is the battlefield in our mind, and making sure that we're doing it for our creator. Everything we do, we should be doing it as if it was for our creator, and not to worry about the way the world reacts around us, because we are set to do the things that he wants us to do. We just need to make sure that we're doing it with the right heart and right mindset.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're doing dishes, it's for the Lord. If you're sweeping, if you're cleaning the toilet, it's for him, because you know what? Think about it. You're able to do it. And there's people out there who can't, who would love to. You know, I used to be able to go to the grocery store and bring all the groceries in by myself. And since my car accident, I can't do that anymore. I used to take that for granted. I don't take it that way anymore. And I'm so grateful that I have a husband who is so wonderful to help me out as much as he does. So stay in a good attitude, stay positive, and everything you do it for God.
There you go. All right, everybody. And that was very well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We love you all. We'll be back tomorrow because today's Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. All right, so we'll see y'all back again tomorrow, Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill.net,
take that red pill. And if you're over on Facebook, you have like 7 choices. So run over there and clickety-click. And please, if you have a minute, leave us a comment, share it with friends, whatever. It really does help us with the algorithm.
It does. And we appreciate all your comments too.
We do. We
throughout
read
the show
all.
and the ones on the bottom after
Yes.
the show or whatever. Yeah,
You guys really do make our day.
you do. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We love you all. Have a great night. Be safe. And God bless each and every one of you.